Tuesday, 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 Tuesday. What's up, chat? How's it going, everybody? Make sure you chime in. Welcome. Welcome to Dadified. Welcome to Tuesdays, our lunchtime live streams. Been so much fun to do this with you guys. I'm trying to get the comments rolling on my end, just getting my my side of things to wake up. Perfect. Looks like we're working, and I got this nice big old bar there. I wonder if I can fix that. There. Now it's out of the way. So let's test that out. Yeah, the normal way that I turn the camera and such isn't going to work so much today because my charger didn't charge last night, so I have this thing hooked up to not only have my microphone that plugs into the charging port, but also it's charging from it. So I had to be a little creative with how I mounted the camera, and everything looked fine. And then I go to turn it on, and I'm like, what's this big block here in the way? Anyway, what's up, everybody? Cloverdale Transit Authority's in here. How's it going, pal? Pilot Drummer, our usuals, Pilot Drummer and Aiden already made it in, I think even before the chat started. Let's see. HD Sport 06, welcome back. Good afternoon, everyone. After a 15-year absence from the train hobby, I'm now back at it. I live near Strasbourg, and after searching for the Lion Chief Strasbourg set, I finally found one. Cool. Yeah, isn't that the 080 version? That's nice that they make a affordable Strasbourg, because otherwise you either end up trying to find. Ooh, how did that get derailed? Oh, I see. I backed up Big Boy, but he still had the switch set to the siding. So the cars, you know how sometimes they do those, like, it makes it look like the trains are drifting, like they're on two parallel tracks, but the car is one set of tracks over here, one set of tracks over there. Looks like my son was about to partake in that with our excursion train here. But yeah, Strasbourg is potentially an expensive railroad to model because 90 is a brass hybrid for Lionel, and that thing's crazy expensive. And then 89, the little mogul, isn't too bad, but those are kind of tricky to find. It seems like the folks that got them new are just hanging on to them. But yay! It's been 100 plus all week for Pilot Drummer. Sounds warm. It was 100 here on Saturday and then 50 on Sunday. Mother Nature is having like a light switch rave in our part of the country. Let me know in the comments if the same's happening where you're at. Southern Pacific's looking good there. Yes, sir. I decided to do double excursions. We've got UP ready to do its big ol' excursion tour next Sunday. So I got the big boy out, and Colin assembled all of the passenger cars with it. But then also, it's going to the West Coast, and I really wish it'd be possible for Big Boy to meet up with Daylight. I know it's stored and maintained and such up at the Oregon Rail Heritage Center near Portland. I think it's near Portland. But it would be fantastic if that thing could travel south to Roseville to meet up with Big Boy on April 10th and 11th. So that's cool. Hello, Claire. Hello, Confused Shovel. B&O Scale is in here. What's up, man? Captain Andy. All right. I'm here. You can start now. Fan of Trains says hello. Thanks for joining us. Bill's in here. Badass Trains is Virginia Beach says Virginia Beach was 82 yesterday and it's 46 today. Yeah, sounds like you guys had a bit of a light switch rave as well. Aiden Barnes says it was snowing here on Friday and it's upper 60s today. Yeah, everything's kind of roller coastery out there, isn't it? Mother Nature is trying to be like model train weather, outdoor weather. Model train weather, outdoor weather. But if you ask me, it was actually too hot here on Saturday, so it was still model train weather. I always talk with my friends at the local shop, and they're like, yeah, we kind of pray for bad weather because that's when everyone's inside working on their hobbies. When it's really nice and comfortable out, everybody's out, enjoying the outdoors and not really working on their railroads. Well, what they need to do is get into garden model railroading, get some G-scale. And I know that my shop has some G-scale there because I've gotten my dad a few birthday presents from there before, and Christmas presents too. Let's see, Noah's in here, Paul Torrey's in here, thanks for joining us. Watching Smokey and the Bandit right now. Noah, I think you were just born in the wrong era. Larkin says the best O-Gauger in Florida is in the chat. Wait, where is he? Let's see. Oh, Paul Torrey is a G-scaler. Awesome. That's kind of where I got started. Until I realized that all the trains my dad was getting for my sister and I to use for Playmobil was secretly to start building up his own G-scale collection, taking over the basement, and then eventually building a layout or building a garden railroad outside with all these cool trestles, because we thought we'd never be able to build a garden layout at the house because the backyard was too hilly. When they put in the pool, it kind of flattened some of that out. But he decided instead to have like one of the flat sections be where the station is, and then it's pretty much trestles that go all the way around the pool in their backyard. So it's neat. Especially at 4th of July, we have a lot of folks over to swim and grill out and do fireworks later. And it's so cool being in the pool and just seeing trains zipping around the outside of the layout of the pool. It's a neat setting. Oh, thanks, Lark. I was just talking with him on chat before we started up here. He says, hope everyone's doing well, including me. Aw, thanks. Corey's in here. What's up, buddy? Cliffordale Transit Authority says, I am going to do a live stream from the National Garden Railroad Convention in May. I am very interested in seeing all the stuff. Yeah, that sounds really cool. I didn't know there's a convention for everything, I'm sure. But that's really cool that they have that. Woot! Well, if you guys haven't seen it, the news broke on Friday just before. I actually didn't get I saw the mention right before our live stream on Friday. I saw the email. I was swamped at work, so I didn't get to see it earlier. But Union Pacific announced the East Coast tour, and a lot of you that are watching here, or just are into model trains in general, reside in the East Coast. Not saying everybody is, but quite a few of the folks that I know personally tend to be out there. So yeah, the East Coast tour it's starting on Memorial Day. It's gonna have a big old stop here in Omaha. That'll be a nice send-off for the East Coast portion, because even though Omaha is not the easternmost terminal for UP, it did serve as the starting point for the Transcontinental Railroad. And with Big Boy heading east, we're kind of linking both coasts with that. So it's kind of a ceremonial center for it. Then going down to Chicago. I don't think it's going to cut north. I have a couple buddies that live in Minnesota that would love to see it in the Twin Cities area and such. But I don't think, if it's not in its immediate path between Omaha and Chicago or the other cities, just assume that, like, if you live in Florida, Larkin, I'm sorry, bud, but I don't think Big Boy is going to run on that main line that goes right behind your house there. I see all sorts of comments on the video that I made about this where they're like, I hope it shows up in insert name of town that is nowhere near any of the cities that I mentioned. I am curious to see if they add any larger stops between, if you guys haven't seen it yet, Omaha to Chicago, to Buffalo, New York, to Steamtown, to Scranton, to Philadelphia, to Altoona, Horseshoe Curve, back to St. Louis, Kansas City, and then heading back to Cheyenne, Wyoming to call it a day. Or a summer in that case, because it'll be ending kind of tail end of July. But yeah, so those big cities, especially Buffalo and Scranton and Philadelphia and Altoona, that have never seen Big Boy, that's pretty cool. But also, cities in between those, like if you look between Altoona and St. Louis, there's definitely an opportunity for it to go through like the Pittsburgh kind of area. Or also to go through like Indianapolis. Mr. Muffins would love that. And then yeah, so it looks like there's quite a bit of opportunities for it to do whistle stops. Now a whistle stop is different from like a full like planned tour, gonna be here at least a day or two kind of spiel. Whistle stops are basically it stops in your town for 30 minutes, toot toot, see the engine roll out. It's cool. And those towns are usually pretty buzzing when Big Boy shows up. You've probably seen the footage of stuff like that. I know it's. I actually haven't gone to an actual whistle stop because they're usually really packed. The only one that I've like been to where it was like supposed to stop for a little while was when it was here in Omaha 2 years ago, right in front of Old Union Station in Omaha. So that was a really cool setting to see it there. But yeah, if it's not directly en route between like Buffalo and Scranton, it's probably not like it's not going to Massachusetts. Philadelphia is as far east as it's gonna go. It's not going to New York, obviously. It's not going to North Carolina. It's not going to Georgia. It's pretty much looping back after it gets into Philadelphia. Now, again, I haven't seen the route, so I can't say that with utmost certainty, but I kind of can say with utmost certainty that it's not going to go much further east than Philadelphia. Well, let's see in the chat. I've missed a bunch, of course. I saw the video on the UP 4014 East Coast Tour. Yep. I mean, it's about everything. It's about the West Coast and the East Coast, and just some tips and tricks, because some of y'all have never been able to see the big boy. Some of y'all, gosh, have I lived in Nebraska that long? Dude. But yeah, it's definitely something like excursions and such on like the smaller, like this is a line that we use for excursions or use for like scenic lines. Scenic lines is much different than an excursion because you're dealing with live tracks that are used for a bunch of other stuff, used for commerce. And yeah, it's a big deal. And when Big Boy says it's coming to town, whoo, restaurants better stock up on their food in those smaller towns and stuff like that, because it's usually a big revenue generator for areas like that too. There's like, Fremont, Nebraska, which is where we've kind of watched it come out of a couple times. Pretty much like small town Nebraska, not super huge. It's a decent sized town. But man, Fremont is buzzing when Big Boy's in town. It's a good time. Philly bound, as it should be. Yeah, Robert Green, I gotta agree. It's kind of nice to see it go into Liberty City. I'm really curious to see where specifically in Philadelphia. Cloverdale says it's bound to come through Ohio at some point with that path. Yeah, it absolutely has to go through Ohio. And actually, I wonder if it'll cut back through Ohio when it's on its way back. Like, it'll skim the edge of the Great Lakes to go up to Buffalo. But once it leaves Altoona and starts going to St. Louis, then kind of the gloves are off, and it could do Columbus, it could do Cincinnati, Indianapolis I already mentioned. Yeah, so there's a lot of what ifs with the return route for that eastern portion of the tour. Also got to wonder how much they're going to be booking it to get home though, because it's already like the tour basically starts this Sunday going out west. Then they come back and they've got about a month turnaround to fix anything or to work stuff or to prep stuff or to get ready for the next leg of it. And then they're out for another month. No, 2 months, because it's May 25th through July, like 24th or something. So yeah, that's a big stretch there. Mr. Brain says he's hoping to see 4014 on Horseshoe Curve. I heard from somebody asking like how do you get like membership to park there or whatever. Like, I've never been to Horseshoe Curve. I'm not familiar with, I'm familiar with that curve, but I'm not familiar with like the area and how things operate. I would just assume that you show up and you watch it go, but apparently like it's a park or like a place where you have to have like a campsite. Like that's I'm sure that's already filled up, even though there's not a date announced for it yet. I'm sure everyone's already got Horseshoe Curve pretty much figured out. Why do they call a lot of the big train stations Union Station? That's a great question, Steven. the state of the Union, the United States, a lot of towns called their big stations Union Station. Um, I used to think that it was Union Station in Omaha because it was Union Pacific, but as a placemat that we have that I use as a work mat, clearly points out Chicago Northwestern, the Hiawatha's, the Wabash, and Missouri Pacific, the Colorado Eagle, and all these other railroads came in and out of Union Station. So a lot of them were just called Union Station because Union, because United, because United States, because just a general broad name to say, hey, that's Union Station. That's where a lot of trains are. But now at this point, shoot, if everything's going to be UP, it makes a whole lot of sense. It's interesting because the whole Transcontinental Railroad thing, completing the Transcontinental Railroad from Omaha, from California, meeting at Promontory Summit, the whole Golden Spike ceremony, we've linked east and west. But they didn't exactly build it transcontinental, like from sea to shining sea. So this merger, buyout, is definitely more of a true transcontinental railroad. And Abraham Lincoln started the UP and started like that whole charter thing to do all of that. But I know that he envisioned a country that was linked by rail, and it very much so was after the Transcontinental Railroad. But I wonder if he envisioned a country linked by rail that was all under one banner. Being united is one thing, but they're still private companies. So I wonder how much of that good old Abe honestly thought was going to be like, good idea to link the country in rail. Absolutely. Good idea to link the country in rail with one railroad doing all of it. I don't know. You let me know. I'm not going to go down that route. I don't want to get in trouble. I already got in enough trouble for... I intentionally kind of skipped over the locomotives that were being named. Like they have 1616, the Abe Lincoln Heritage Unit for UP. They did that last summer. And that has been... In January, Union Pacific announced that a second engine, 1776, was going to join it. And so I was really curious to see like how they were going to do a 1776 kind of U.S. commemorative kind of engine. And I don't know, do you guys know about this? The 1776 engine is a yellow UP diesel with the wavy flag with the number 1776. There's nothing else really commemorative on it. But they also happened to have a third unit that they didn't tell anybody about, that's white, that has the American flag on one side and the colonial American flag on the opposite side. And that one's 4547. So it's not fantasy anymore, guys. If any one of you have a Trump train at home, there's a real one now, and it's kind of shrink wrapped right now. It's sitting in the yard in Council Bluffs, waiting to bring those cars out to the west. I followed the wrong train apparently, but that it's kind of funny to see the 1616. I wish I could have gotten a good picture, but I could just barely see it while I was going over a bridge. But 1616 is sitting there all bright red, and then behind it is this gigantic like white, like shrink wrapped gigantic locomotive. I'm like, oh. Maybe the paint's still curing, or they're just trying to keep it like under wraps until it can get unveiled. But it's all kind of hidden in the middle of that yard anyways. There's not a way to actually see the Heritage Yard, which is a bit of a shame. I think it'd be really cool if UP made that as like some place that you could visit to go see these cars when they're not out on excursions. But yeah, let's see, I'm missing a bunch of stuff here. I saw the Union Station one. Great, I'm not that far back. We just had a Show Tunes moment. Philadelphia. Yes, thank you. Somebody got that reference. Austin's in here. Speak of the devil. I was literally messaging him and be like, hey, where's that train? And he's like, oh, the train you saw is the wrong one. Oh, I'd like to see it do a whistle stop in Toledo. Yeah, it definitely could. I can't remember where exactly Toledo is at in Ohio, but... I'd be surprised if they don't stop in an area like that. Only big boy I've ever seen is 4012. Very excited to see 4014. And you bring up a great point. I mentioned before that a lot of my friends that have trains reside on the East Coast. And so everybody's big boy is 4012. Like they all have Pennsylvania Railroad and Penn Central and Conrail and New York Central and Erie and Lackawanna and all that other stuff. And if they do have any UP, it's big boy 4012 because it's in Pennsylvania. It's like, that's got to be like the best selling Lionel big boy, second only to the actual 4014. Like the pecking order is 4014, 4012, and then everything else people don't even know if like where they are or if they exist anymore or whatever the deal is. Like the rest of the big boys just kind of don't matter because Pennsylvania, York train show, kind of O-gauge mecca. Yeah, 4012 is a big deal. It's the furthest east big boy. And it's going there. And it kind of can because they got 4012 there somehow, which means that if 4012 can fit on those rails, then so can big boy. I'm curious to see how close to or how far into Steamtown it actually gets. And I'm also curious because they moved 4012 last year at Steamtown. And it's kind of on a siding that's now closer to active tracks. I wonder if that was on purpose. Like, let's just nonchalantly leave this out kind of closer to an accessible line. So that way another big boy can roll up next to it and we can have double big boy in real life. And we don't have to pretend anymore or do it on our railroads or anything. Having them next to each other would be fantastic. But I digress. Uh-oh. Let's see. Someone said trash. Let's see. The Buffalo part doesn't make sense because if it's going through Altoona and Scranton, it would have to backtrack to get to Buffalo. Nope, because you're thinking of it out of order. Chicago, then Buffalo, then down to Scranton, then to Philadelphia, and then back to Altoona. They listed them in the order that they're going to be visiting them, not in the order where they're like zigzagging their way to it. They're not going to Philadelphia and then booking it back and not stopping anymore. So the order that they listed them in is where it's going to be visiting. So if you think of it in that respect, it makes a lot more sense. Badass did not like 1776. Yeah, it's a little bit of a letdown. It's like, man, you've got a third commemorative locomotive in there, and it looks like all your other diesels. I don't know if that counts. Will they be using CSX when they go to Buffalo? I don't know. I've only seen the stuff released from Norfolk Southern. Pretty sweet. Some of these East Coast railroads are also cooking up some amazing 250th schemes. Yeah, that's cool to see. Even Canadian Pacific, CPKC, and Canadian National, I think, actually has a really cool USA 250th kind of scheme. Come on, UP. You're supposed to be like the patriotic one. It's on the main line heading to New York and Philly. 1776 does have a small America 250 logo on the side of the cab, but that's it. Very underwhelming. Yeah, I gotta agree, Clemson Pirate. Let's see, I'm almost caught up here. Norfolk Southern does have trackage in Buffalo, according to Jonathan Murray. Yay! Good, that makes some more sense now. Closest thing I've seen to a big boy is the Allegheny at the B&O Museum. That's cool. What is that, 1607, I think? That's cool. Are we excited to see them in Omaha? Of course. Why wouldn't we be? That's like asking, Mike, do you have a pulse? Yes, I'm alive. It's good. Yes, we're excited to see Big Boy in Omaha. We always are. It's always a good time. Kind of partial to the 844, Sean says. Yeah, about that. Last year when we were at Depot Days, they were working on 844, and they were very clearly making preparations to get it ready for the main line again. And I was like, you know what? What better way to showcase Union Pacific than to have the original ambassador for UP in general be the one that goes out with Big Boy. Like, to double head Big Boy and 844 is kind of what I was expecting from this tour. Not 3 commemorative diesels. I mean, I expected a diesel to be in the mix there anyways. Maybe 2. But, more steam. Get 844 out of Cheyenne. It's so sad. Like, it's been in there since, like 2019? It was looking shiny. It was looking pretty good. Last spring was when we last saw it. But yeah, 844 just hangs out in the sheds now. I know Big Boy's the big deal and all that stuff. And it's more expensive to operate 2 steam locomotives than 1 steam locomotive and some diesels. But come on, guys. Would really like to see 844 out and about again. I know my son would like to. Sam says, I'm so excited to see 4014 on the East Coast. This whole eastern area is going to nightmare. I'm going to assume that you mean that, like, the traffic and all that stuff's going to be a bit of a nightmare with it. But yeah, we'll see. Apparently, DCS Skater says, apparently the newer Malays can take 048. Yeah. Yeah, my friend that works at the Lionel store, when the Prairie Malays came out again, because Lionel just reprints everything. When the Prairie Malay, the 2662s came out, I was curious about getting one, so I checked to see if he could run one around 048 at the shop, and it worked. And I did a short about that, because all I had was enough footage to do a short. But yeah, it worked. And then my buddy Art did a whole video test showing what engines can go on what curves. And he did a video specifically about that, about that Malay. And it went around 048 just fine. So yeah, that's it's not apparently, it's been proven a couple times. John says, Chooch says, yes, it does. I was just wondering if they'll be using the old nickel plate line. Maybe. I'm not familiar with the lines over there. John the Mary says, it's going to be climbing Horseshoe Curve. Yes, that'll be really cool to see. Big Boy, probably with the cab swung out. Not the cab, the boilers swung out over the wheels quite a bit. Pulling a bunch of Armor Yellow passenger cars through Horseshoe Curve. I want to see the helicopter footage of that. I want to see that overhead shot. That's going to be amazing. And then Aiden says, the biggest engine I've seen is also an Allegheny, but it's the one at the Henry Ford Museum, 1601. Very cool. Yep, my buddy B&O Scale Models has our 1601. That's such a cool, regardless of the scale or size, whatever you collect, the Alleghenies are cool. Tim made it to the chat. Welcome, Tim. Thanks for joining us. Climbing is going west, so I have to get to Philly and then head back home. Climbing. Oh, you mean like the climbing portion of it going through Horseshoe Curve is where it's heading back west. Yes. Uncle Salty's in here. What's up? Hopefully they don't neglect 844 like they did 3985. It's not so much that they neglected 3985. It's that when the volunteers restored 3985, they just got it running. They didn't do the full job like they did with 4014. Because back then, their excursion queen was 844, and Union Pacific wasn't interested in restoring 3985. The volunteers were. It was a different time. And not to discredit the work that they did to get that engine running again, but 3985 by the late 90s, early 2000s was definitely showing signs that not to say corners were cut, but there were definitely things that they could have done had they had the money or the time when they originally restored it to actually get her running right. And when Union Pacific looked at the cost that it would take to get 3985 running right, and they looked at the cost of what it would take to nab Big Boy out of Pomona, California, sunny and dry, and just probably honestly, even though it wasn't running, it was probably easier to get 4014 running than it was to fix 3985. And so they sent that to the Railroading Heritage of the Midwest, RHMA, something like that. And they're doing a fantastic job restoring it, but it would have taken even longer. They probably would have missed their deadline for the 2019 200th anniversary of the Transcontinental Railroad kind of deal. So I don't think it was UP neglected 3985. I think it was harder to properly restore it. And 844, yes, it's getting neglected now, but because it's been sidelined for, like, shoot, that engine's been operational for how long? So there's a lot more that goes in, like, 844 needs a bunch of work. 3985 needed a bunch of work. Big boy, we're trying to restore this. We can only do so much with our Steam program. So they, I'm glad they still have 844. I'm glad it looks like there is still work being done, but it is not on top of the corporate priority list. I'm sure the guys at the shops, I know Ed Dickens loves 844. And so I'm sure that there is interest to return it to the main line. But right now, PR, commercialization of 4014, that's taking precedence right now. Let's see. I'd like to see UP bring the F9s out of purgatory. Yeah, those were out, what, kind of mid-2000s was the most recent time those fellas were out. We got to see them in the shops. They look really cool. Essentially, they're like E9 shells, but they're actually like some sort of six-axle diesel underneath. It's a bit of a resto mod, if you ask me, which is cool. I would rather see those things helping Big Boy, acting as diesel mode of power, than... Nothing against modern diesel power, but again, what's the point in having that equipment around if you're not going to use it? Would be really cool to see more of the heritage equipment up to snuff, ready to go out there, instead of big boy, big boy, big boy, big boy. Shoot, what are we going to do when we have to do the boiler inspection on this thing and tear it all down? None of our other engines are ready right now. Maybe that's what they're kind of waiting for 844 to be ready again, so that way it can carry the mantle when 4014 is down for however long their inspections are. But that's a long time to wait. Let's see. 844 is a beautiful locomotive, Tim. Absolutely. Noah says, speaking of RRHMA, I have heard that they got a Metra 611 from Metra. Cool. Bill's in here. What's up, bud? He says, I've seen 3985 with the E9s and passenger cars at Cajon. What? That's cool. Oh, man. Bill, I'm eternally jealous. That's amazing. Literally, my buddy Austin that was in the chat here, I don't know if he's still in here now. Say hi if you are, bud. But literally, I remember we were eating dinner together down here, watching TV, and we had the footage of 844 and Daylight racing through the Cajon Pass. And gosh, what a time to be alive, man. That would have been something to see. But you've seen 3985 through Cajon? Oh, that's amazing. Tazi says 844 or 4449. Are you saying like versus, like which one I would rather see is 844 or Daylight? If I could see only one of those ever operate again, nothing against the living legend, but if I could see either of those engines under Steam working, I'd want it to be the Daylight, because that engine is just a visual masterpiece. There's a reason she's on the layout right now. Looks amazing. Yeah, like that's a hard choice anyways. But 844 has been seen by lots of folks before. Daylight's been seen by quite a few as well, but it's me personally, I've never seen. Well, I guess I've never seen 844 under. No, I saw 844 in 2019, and I think before when it was at the College World Series. Couple years before then. I'll have to check this timestamp on that, but I have a little selfie of me with 844 in the background with my like iPod Touch potato camera phone. Uncle Salty says, I'm so glad I saw Daylight and 844 for the 50th anniversary in 89. Holy cow, man. I am eternally jealous. That's amazing. I was alive in 89. I would have been 3. Jaden says, hey, Dadified, I missed the last stream, so I didn't get to ask you, but on what day did you go to the train show? I went on Saturday, and I actually might have seen 261. Yes, you did see 261 if you were there on Saturday, because I hadn't bought it yet. I bought it literally as we were tearing down on Sunday. I'd mentioned before, I'm sorry if I missed you, but I was only able to go on Sunday, and I got a lot of upset messages from folks like, well, Sunday's supposed to snowstorm. Like, I know, but I'm just down the road, so I'm still going. But yeah, Sunday was pretty light for traffic. I was kind of bummed about that, but what can you do? It's the Midwest. But yeah, so I was there Sunday, and I picked it up before he could pack it up back in his truck. Mr. Brain says, apparently 1776 was a distraction from the real UP 250th unit, and 76 will most likely run with 4014, but this is just stuff I've heard. Ah. It's weird. I guess I could maybe see that, but I don't know. Maybe it's like, hey, we didn't quite have 1776 ready to go for the western leg of the tour, but it'll be ready to go for the eastern leg. I don't know, because, I mean, they got a month turnaround in Wyoming. Might as well. Jaden says, I purchased 3 post-war coaches and a little booklet about post-war Lionel trains. Wonderful. That's fantastic. Uncle Salty says, after the show, 844 and Daylight raced up Cajon Pass. I went there as well. You were... Oh, man. To relive that day in your shoes, I would give up all of my Lion Masters to do that. I'm kidding. I love my Lion. Oh, no, maybe I would, because then I could just find them again on the secondhand market and just get them all back. But I can't. Okay, so somebody asked me this earlier. Mike, what happens if you guys ever get out of O-gauge trains? If that time ever came, if we ever got out of trains, then I could, just sell stuff. And he's like, yeah, but what about the stuff that, like, you've, like, personalized or customized? And I'm thinking, like the switcher that I got, like the DS 1000, that was a custom paintwork that we did on that. No, like 4023. I never thought about that. I think if God forbid, if we ever got out of O-gauge trains, if we ever decided to pack it all up and sell it, I would probably keep Big Boy 4023. Or like those guys that like sell their collections when they're moving. If it came to that, that would be the one that I keep. Like, I'm not going to remake what I made. No, I'm keeping this. And that was our first Lion Master, too. That's technically 4006. Sorry, St. Louis. Let's see. Yep, Bill got up close to 3985. It is huge. Big Boy is slightly huger, but they're both big. DCS Skater says, don't you think you should be called Lion Master Mike instead? I suppose. But we do have quite a few scale engines here. But yeah, Lion Master is kind of my jam, but they don't make a whole lot of them. So we have to expand the roster somehow. Mike drives a Subaru. He ain't afraid of no snow. No, it was... honestly, it wasn't deep snow. It was just like a snow squall. It was like blinding snow. So regardless of your all-wheel drive system or how badass your Subaru may or may not be, it was just hard to see. Let's see. Mr. Braden says, the proof is the real unit has gray trucks, 1776 doesn't. The real unit is under a tarp, and you can see gray trucks again. 1776 does not. Well, I figured it's not 1776 under the wrap. I think it's the 4547 train. Tozzy says, Daylight is my local engine. I'm partial to its sister Spokane, Portland, and Seattle 700. Yeah, that's cool. local history wins. And so those are usually the engines that mean the most. Speaking of, we recently got Milwaukee Road number 261, the S3. And I'm glad I did, because I'm pretty sure after their announcement a couple days ago that everyone's going to be definitely looking for one, because that's going to be part of doing some excursions for America 250 this summer. So I'm really excited to see what the plans are for that engine, because my son has been chomping that bit. He's like, Dad, 261 still around? Yeah. Where? He's like, almost like angry. Where? In Minnesota. Where's that? It's north of here, so we can go up and see it. How far? I mean, it's like 6-hour drive. 6 hours. I'm like, you can play Crossy Road and watch your video games on the way. Oh yeah. It's just so funny. Uncle Salty's been everywhere, man. He's breathed the mountain air, man. Yep, I've been everywhere, man. DCS Skater says, don't you dare walk away from this hobby, man. You're making a name for yourself. I don't know about that. I mean, it's nice. I look forward to Tuesdays. Hanging out with you guys is a blast. And it's fun doing this and everything, but I don't know that the hobby would miss me too much if I hung it up. There's enough guys doing O-Gauge, and there's, RBP doesn't even have to make a video anymore, and he still gets like more views daily than I do, pumping out content like every single week. So like O-Gauge has their guys. I don't know if I'm one of them. I don't know if I'm up there. For the amount of work that I put into stuff to get I'm not saying that I'm not getting enough views, but I'm not getting enough views to be relevant. I am super thankful for all the support that you guys give here, and all the great people that I've met and continue to meet as we keep diving into this super fun hobby. But I don't know if I'd put myself up there in top 5 O-Gauge land. There's more established, better a word? It is now. Creators than I. I don't think it'd be like, oh no, Stop the World, Dadified got out of O-Gauge. As flattering as that sounds, I don't think there'd be that many folks that really miss me. But don't worry, I'm staying in it. I don't know. Am I really that big a deal? I think that's a slippery slope to go down for ego land. I don't want, oh, Mike, you're a big deal. People nominated you for a thing. You're famous. Famous in O-Gauge is saying your name is the top scorer on the local pinball machine. Let's see. Go to I-35 and make a left. Sounds good, Uncle Salty. Local trains count N-Train to Bay... What? N-Train to Bay Parkway. I don't know what that means. Let's see. B&O says, I'm 100% one of the O-Gauge guys. Oh, cool. I'm glad I've been absorbed in so quickly. I have you guys to thank for that. If there's any fame or fortune or whatever to be had with this, it's because of the support from you guys. It's not from, I'm not saying anyone could do this, but, man, it has been a lot of fun working on that rock wall. Claire says, love listening to your show. I learned a lot and your delivery is amazing. Oh, thanks. I've mentioned it before. I like to think above nothing. I may not have the most grandiose collection or all the scale trains that get all the clicks for all the new unboxings and stuff like that. I may not have the most amazing layout, but I like to think of myself as an entertainer, because I always, when I was a kid, I always kind of wanted to get into doing film or doing acting or doing some sort of... I want to be an entertainer, essentially. Music performance. I've played many times with big bands and stuff like that. It's always fun. And then you go back to working your 9-to-5 job the next day and realize that it's all well beyond your years and your time to be able to fame and fortune kind of deal. But it is a lot of fun sharing it with you guys. And I just enjoy editing and making videos and all that stuff anyhow. I like to pretend that I could have been like a movie maker. Not a movie star, like a filmmaker, I suppose. It's fun sharing that with you guys. David says, is anyone looking forward to the 40-14 doing an Eastern tour? No. No, we're all bored to tears. Yeah, I don't even think we knew that it was doing that. Is it? Who cares? Whatever. Kidding. Kidding. No. Welcome to the chat. Because we've been talking about that for almost the whole thing, like 45 minutes of it. That reminds me, I do have to get out of here at the hour mark because I got to pack up my stuff and head over and go see my little niece and help my brother-in-law while he gets some work done so I can watch her. So that'll be fun. The new UP4547 Loco will make a great Lionel. Yes, I would not be surprised if they're already like planning that train. I wonder if all like the value on all the other fantasy schemes for Trump trains will devalue because they're all just fantasy versions and this is the real one. So interesting. Make train movies. Yeah. There we go. Making train movies. This is a good time. Wait, Matt's in here too? What did I miss? What's the different Matt? Let's see. Did Matt get in here? Oh, chat keeps moving on me. You guys add a thing and then it messes. It's fine. Keep talking. I'm not going to try and backtrack. If I recall correctly, 4547 has blue trucks. Oh, I guess I didn't look. That'd be really cool. I didn't really look that closely at it. I was mostly on the white paint and the big wavy flags. I really like how they did the colonial flag on there too. That was neat. DCS Skater says, imagine this, a Malay in the New York Central Fantasy Scheme pulling the 20th Century Limited. That's the kind of Malay I got. Can't wait until my next day off so I can run it. Sweet. Did you happen to get the New York Central one from trains.com? Trains with a Z? Because pretty sure that's the one that was at my buddy Art's house as he did a review on it and then gave it back to Trains. I'm pretty sure he didn't keep it. But yeah, if you got it from Trains, then you got Art's train. That's cool. Clemson says, you are... Uh-oh, here we go. You're a much-needed breath of fresh air compared to other YouTube/influencers. You also tapped into a genre of O that has little to no representation. You and Colin keep up the good work. Yeah, thanks. I like to think... Like, I didn't want to do what everyone else was doing, but it was kind of hard to do what everyone else was doing because I can't. So we just had to have the most fun with what we had, and what that ended up also catering to was more semi-scale, more traditional size kind of stuff, but more modern traditional stuff. So you see a lot of guys doing semi-scale, post-war, old-school stuff, like not even tin plate, but like all like your old operating accessories. Think I Love Toy Trains, all that old stuff. And then all the other guys that are doing modern are focusing on the big, gigantic scale things with super grandiose layouts where the only reason you can tell that it's not real is the third rail. And then what's in the middle? There's not a whole lot represented here with what we do. So I like to think that's part of the reason why we've had a lot of great support is because there's not a whole lot of folks that make videos about this stuff. So it's been fun to do that. York is a month away. Yeah, I'm spending most of my money for York getting there. Travel's not cheap. I'm still glad I'm not flying, but I'm starting to dread driving. Maybe I'll just walk to work for the next month and save my fuel that way. Hopping in for a moment. What's up, Ives guy? Thanks for joining us. Aiden says, Mike, you're definitely a representation of us O-scalers in a small space, and you introduced me to Lion Master Line and Rail King passenger cars, so keep up the good work. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Aiden. Thanks. That means a lot. Corey says, I would love to have more likes and more followers, but I'm still having fun. Yeah, that's what it's about. Whether we're big time, big shots, or whether we're, pretending that we're big time, big shots. It's not about that. At least for me, it isn't. Would it be nice if my videos and Corey's videos and everyone else's videos got some more attention? Yeah. But I understand that it's already a niche topic. It's already a niche hobby. And everyone has their folks that they already follow, so that's fine. I try and put the best content stuff out that I can. Nobody's asking me to improve the quality of my videos, but I always try to. Because I want to make the next one better than the last one. I want that's part of the fun with it. And the same way that we collect our trains and improve our layouts, and we keep moving towards refining and improving those things as content creators, as good ones, we should be trying to improve our craft with sharing this stuff better for you. It still bugs me when I see lazy editing from other creators and such, and it's like, I know that you can make something better than this, but you're just throwing stuff out because it's that, it's time for a new video, or insert name of sponsors sent you a thing to make a video about. Joey, Corey follows you. So do I. Keep up the good work, buddy. Aaron says, I plan to make York after the first time while on my honeymoon, marrying a great lady. I would say so. Is she aware of the train overload that York might be? If you're there Friday, I'll definitely be there Friday. It'll be great to meet you. Or any of you for that matter. Ives Guy says, I'm scripting a YouTube video that is going to kick off a series about tin plate. Talking about niche content. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, we need more representative there too. Oof. Steamer Willie says, improvement is the best defense against stagnation. Yeah, it's a great... Shoot, is that like Confucius or something? Like, where'd you get that quote? That's fantastic. Cross of Bayonne. Yo, everybody, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. I got about 8 minutes left here before I have to wrap things up, but I always look forward to Tuesdays. It's fun chatting with you guys. Got some good progress done on the rock wall again. Just keep working. Like, from where I'm sitting, it looks like it's done, but if I lean over, I can already see the pink foam and wood kind of creeping out from the side of the layout. So I know I got more work to do. My son's been having a lot of fun with our crane again. I put these little rubber bands on some crates, and he's been using the TMCC crane to lift over and hook them up and move them on and off of trains. It's been really fun to see him do that. And I know he's enjoying it because he's doing it when I'm not here. I got a video from my wife yesterday where she's filming him doing it. He's like, Dad, I want to show Dad that I can control it with this by myself. He's getting really good with this. Like, he knows more than throttle and whistle and make it talk. Like, he knows how to do a TMCC crane. Shoot, I need to look at the instructions sometimes when I do that. And he has it memorized already. I only showed him like a couple times. Aaron Filter says, gonna shoot for Friday and Strasburg Railroad on Saturday. Maybe Omaha when we find out big boy dates. Yeah, definitely. So Omaha's gonna be a little bit easier to call. It's probably going to be the weekend after Memorial Day, or maybe even like the Friday coming into it, because that Monday, Memorial Day Monday, is when Big Boy sets out for the East Coast. And it'll probably go to like Grand Island and spend the night, and then it'll probably come to Omaha, if I had to guess, Wednesday or Thursday, and then it'll be in town at least another day, Friday, Saturday, maybe leaving Friday evening or Saturday evening or something, or heading to Chicago from there. It usually leaves in the morning. So if it's here for 2 days, I wonder if they count like arrival day 1 and then departure the next day. Nah, it'll probably be around for longer than that because I'm pretty sure UP execs are like, it didn't come to Omaha at all last year. Where's our big boy? Oh, it went to Denver twice. Denver? I got friends and family in town that want to see it. Oh, well, we'll bring it for longer next time. Hang out here a little longer. We want to do a little more pomp and circumstance. So, hoping it sticks around a little longer here in Omaha. But yeah, that first week of May, when it's heading out on the East Coast portion of the tour, you can bet it'll be here. Cross is doing good. I'm doing good too. My voice is getting a little shot, but I've talked too much at work yesterday, I guess. Nickel Plate Dave says, Confucius say busy trains while the sun shines and also at night. Oh, buy trains while the sun shines and also at night. Sorry, I read busy for some reason. That was even funnier. Steamer Willie says, I made it up, but it was based on something I heard before. Made what up? Oh, what you said. Duh. I'm getting there. I'm a little... Omaha is a further drive, but preferred it over Chicago, and I know I can visit 4023. That is a good point. So someone pointed out that Omaha has 4023, Scranton has 4012, and on the return trip, St. Louis has 4006. And so they're like, man, will there be double big boys in multiple cities? And at least for the Omaha leg, no. You won't be able to see 4023 from, 4023 is on a hillside. They towed it up the hill. If you haven't seen my video on that, check it out. It's a lot of fun. But 4023 is nowhere near an actual Union Pacific active line. It's right next to the interstate as you drive into town. There is a rail line down below, but that's BNSF, and UP won't be using that to go do its thing. So I don't think there's going to be a double big boy opportunity. There will be two big boys in Omaha, but you won't be able to see them both at the same time. St. Louis, I think, is the same deal. I don't think you'll be able to see at the National Transportation Museum, where 4006 is located in St. Louis. I don't think the active lines are close enough to that museum to where you'll be able to see 4006 next to 4014. I don't think that's possible. But Scranton, Steamtown, USA. Again, they got a big boy in there, so it's possible that 4014 could literally roll up next to 4012. Gosh. Can you imagine? When was the last time a big boy was next to a big boy? Probably when they were getting scrapped and sent off to all these different places to be put on display. That was probably the last time. Wow. Big boy 4023 got to hang out with 3985 for a while. But yeah, not two big boys. Wow. 4014 is coming up to Scranton apparently in May. I'm going to say definitely later than May. You need to watch my video, bud. I made one talking about the tour and everything. But if this tour starts on May 25th and it has to go to Omaha and Chicago and Buffalo and then Scranton, you can bet your buckets it's going to be like late June that it's probably going to be out there. Because 4th of July, it'll be in Philadelphia. So... we have been swamped here at work. I've missed so much of the chat. Sorry, Cloverdale. It's all right. I'm still yakking. It's just what I do. Oh, man, I got to wrap this up soon. Let's see. Uncle Salty says, my wife is driving out to York with me, but she wants to take I-70. A little more scenic, maybe. A little less hectic. Way fewer semis, that's for sure. I-80 is just chock full of... Actually, no. If you take 70 through Missouri... 70 through Missouri kind of stinks. If they ever made it to Green Bay, 4017 is at the National Railroad Museum, but it's displayed inside. Yep, so there's no way to see them both at the same time. Same thing within Denver. It's been in Denver a bunch of times, but 4005 and 4014 will never be able to see each other because it's indoors. The last time a big boy was next to a big boy was on my layout. Yeah, it happens quite a bit here. Oh yeah, if you haven't already clicked like, please do. Would love the support there. But yeah, I got to wrap things up here because I got to go help my brother-in-law out with my cute little niece. Hopefully she naps. But yep. Another show tunes moment. Yep, I keep quoting 1776. When they say Philadelphia, I don't know what station they're referring to because they haven't given us specific locations yet. You want to stay tuned to Union Pacific's website to see all of that info. We all know when they let us know. So we're in a holding pattern until then. We just know it's going to be in Philadelphia somewhere around the 4th. So thank you guys for hanging out with us today. If you haven't already, you want more information on that big boy tour, West Coast, East Coast, or just tips on how to see it when it's in your area, check it out. Had a lot of fun making that for you. Yeah, I got some fun stuff planned for this Friday for another video, and more rock wall fun over here. So thanks for joining me on your lunch break, and we'll see you all on the next one. God, that felt short. At least it didn't die this time, right, guys? Am I right? Right. 2.